Hello there. I want to talk now about hypnosis and hypnotherapy. What is hypnosis? What is hypnotherapy? Now, I'm going to explain it, I'm going to describe it in a slightly different way because I'm going to use a kind of metaphor. I'd like you to imagine a filing cabinet. Just a boring old filing cabinet. Might have two, might have three drawers in it. It's a filing cabinet. The filing cabinet is stuffed with thousands and thousands of pieces of paper, documents. That filing cabinet represents what we call the unconscious mind, or what some people call the subconscious mind, which is effectively that part in our mind, the far bigger part in our mind in actual fact, that we're not consciously aware of. So by definition, that's why it's the unconscious mind. The pieces of paper, most of them originate from our childhood, from the past, because those pieces of paper, you see, they represent our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, most of which, as I've just said, were picked up at a very young age. And those pieces of paper, those thoughts, those ideas that we have about the world and the thoughts that we have about ourselves has a huge influence on our lives. How we think about the world, how we think and feel about ourselves, what we're capable of, what our fears might be. So these pieces of paper determine our confidence, our self-assurance, our behaviours, our attitudes, and some might say ultimately our health. Let's take the example of John. In John's filing cabinet, in John's unconscious mind, there's a piece of paper that's got written on it, "I'm not good enough." Okay? And that's a belief that he picked up without realising it when he was a small boy. And it's been there ever since. I'm not good enough. And this has a huge impact, a huge negative impact on John's life, because he doesn't feel very confident, he's not very self-assured, so he underachieves. He probably has problems with anxiety in certain situations, all because of this erroneous, outdated belief, this outdated piece of paper that's still there in his filing cabinet. Okay? What we need to do as a therapist is go into John's filing cabinet, find that piece of paper and remove it. And to complete the job, complete the task, putting a new piece of paper that's got written on it, "I am good enough." And from a therapy point of view, that is actually all we need to do, and that's really by and large what hypnotherapy is pretty much all about. It's just helping people to change the program in their mind. So remove the negative piece of paper, replace it with a more positive one. Okay? Now, you might think, well, why can't John, in this example I'm giving here, why can't John remove the piece of paper himself? Well, he probably could, but first of all he would need to know that it's actually there, and most people with low confidence don't realise what's actually going on. And then the second point is, even if he did know it was there, he would struggle to find it. But as a hypnotherapist, or any well-trained hypnotherapist, will know how to find that piece of paper, and in most cases find it very quickly and very easily. So that's the job. It's a very simple job in many ways. Find the piece of paper, remove it, replace it with a new one. And that really is kind of what hypnotherapy is all about. But there's a catch, there's a snag, because you see, between the therapist and the filing cabinet there's a guard dog, and the guard dog's job is to guard, to protect the filing cabinet, to stop someone else going in there. You see, when John was a little boy, that guard dog wasn't really there, it wasn't really present, because he was a little boy. So it was very easy for other people, parents, teachers, friends, etc., to to put things in that, and and they weren't doing it deliberately necessarily, but putting these pieces of paper in the filing cabinet, and once they're in there for life, unless you do something about it. But as an adult, John has got his guard dog, so we've got to get past the guard dog, and this is where the hypnosis comes in. And there are several ways of getting past the guard dog. And in other words, there are different ways, several ways of doing actual hypnosis. One thing we could do is to pet the dog, stroke the dog, get it nice and relaxed. And while it's nice and relaxed, you've got access to the filing cabinet. Something else you could do is you could confuse the dog. Get half a dozen or more of its favourite toys and scatter them about and get the dog running around and all excited, and while it's kind of distracted and confused to a degree, you've got access to the filing cabinet. Or you could simply distract the dog by getting its favourite toy or a big bone, throw it over to one side, and while the dog's gone to retrieve it, you've got access to the filing cabinet. And that's really what hypnosis is. So hypnosis is kind of, think of it as getting past the guard dog, allowing access to the filing cabinet so we can make the necessary changes. But there's one further thing I want to mention, and it's about the guard dog. See, everyone's guard dog is different. Some people's guard dogs will be very fierce, very stoic, like an Alsatian or a big dog, a Rottweiler or something like that. So something that you've got to work pretty hard to get past. But in actual fact, most people's dogs, it'll be like a little soft poodle, and you don't have to do very much to get past the dog to get to the filing cabinet. Anyway, I hope that's given you some insight into what hypnosis is and what hypnotherapy is and how these things work. And I'd like to thank you very much for your time.